You lose electrons is oxidation. Remember? You gain electrons, and that is reduction. Okay? So even though it's being reduced, it's actually gaining. So Leo says Gur. That's how I always remembered it from chemistry. You lose electrons, you oxidize something. That's rust. Okay? In Hawaii, remember those little bumper stickers that are sitting on the backs of those little cars that are all riddled with rust? Says rust test in progress. I've never seen that on the North Shore. Lose electrons, then we're going to oxidize. Gain electrons, we're going to reduce something. So what are we talking about with electrons and gaining and losing? Remember from chemistry again that inside of this electron cloud that's going to make up an atom, the electron cloud is outside, but inside the nucleus of this is a positive charge composed of protons and neutrons, and this gives then the atom a charge in the center. If it only has one single positive charge, it's at the very beginning of that periodic table. Remember that periodic table that looks like two states of Utah or two matching staircases, two bookends that you really wanted to forget back in 8th grade? It's going to come back to haunt us tonight, because this amazing periodic table of elements makes up all building blocks for life, for all structure and everything that's around us. Okay? And this little nucleus has then this ability to hold around it a field of electrons then that have a first level shell, a second level shell, and so on, depending on how big this proton is in the center. If this were a single then electron around this hydrogen, remember the very first guy here is hydrogen. Where's hydrogen important? Where do we see hydrogen jumping on and off? It's in a molecular formula that everybody knows, right? H2O. In that, we're seeing then that if this ability for this proton then to hold the electron, and this single electron that's spinning around or orbiting, if you will. Here you see from all the way out an example of our solar system coming all the way down to the smallest particles of creation. Here is this amazing charge, has the ability to hold then a companion charge around it. Okay? This little guy has a negative charge, is called an electron. And when we lose the electron, we call that oxidation. When we gain an electron, we call that reduction. So as this charge is able to give away and bring back and give away and bring back its charge, that then becomes what we're looking at as this oxidative state. Now what happens when you lose an electron? That electron, when it's flying around and isn't in this circulation, if you will, or is not in this orbit, it becomes very excited. It's looking for something to belong to. It wants to find someone. Okay? It's kind of like a young man who's looking for a girl to be close to, right? He's always searching, always looking. And finally, when he finds the right one, woohoo, settles down and he enjoys life. Okay? So this guy is always running around, looking. And when it's out there looking, sometimes he can become very destructive if he doesn't have his eyes focused on the prize, if he doesn't keep focused on what really he's trying to accomplish. And that's what happens in the system. These little electrons can jump off of the cloud or jump off or out of that orbit and start to create damage. They can start to create an imbalance in certain tissues and in essence start to, just like the cars in Hawaii, become rusted or cankered. Okay? And when you look at that canker, then, or if you were to look at it as this, or if you're to change those letters then, you see that it can quickly become then the big C, right? That canker has the ability to create then, I was thinking C before I said it, so canker or cancer, right? can actually create for us then this, the cancer. So when you look at cancer states, you're actually looking at free radical states or cells that no longer obey the laws of health, and they start to get crazy in the system. Okay? Where are free radicals produced? If oxygen is very commonly, or oxidation is a place where we're actually seeing these electrons jump on and off, jump on and off. Where do these oxidative states, or what processes in the body create this oxidative state? Everybody go. Okay? Just by breathing. Breathing alone creates the most free radicals in the body. As you're breathing, exchanging oxygen and carbon dioxide, you're actually creating then electrons that are jumping on and jumping off, jumping in on, jumping off. In other words, in order for our bodies to produce energy, our bodies actually take oxygen that we're breathing in and sugar, C6H12O6, glucose. They're going to break those down in the system to be able to produce energy, which we call ATP, adenosine triphosphate, and it's going to actually then create byproducts of water and carbon dioxide. Okay? So this is actually the very basis of life cycles in human beings. We cannot take carbon dioxide and water and make energy. That's the byproduct. That's what comes out of our exhaust pipe. Our lungs, right? And our exhaust pipes. This is what comes out, right? But what goes in is what the plants and the animals make for us from the sun, because they can use these two processes to make this for us. So this beautiful symbiotic relationship that we see again in an order that everything has a relationship in this state of being able to maintain wellness or an imbalance. So the green actually has the ability to, through the chlorophyll, the light, be able through photosynthesis then create for us building blocks. Then with the oxygen that they produce as gas, the plants actually give off, and the algae, the blue-green algae give off as a gas, a byproduct of their creation, then gives us the opportunity to actually metabolize or to break down sugars and build our body's catabolism, okay, or anabolism. When we look at anabolic steroids, those anabolism is the building of, metabolism is the process by which we build or create energy from the breakdown of the byproducts of this, and catabolism is the breaking down then of those constituent products. So metabolism is the burning or a cycle with which then we produce energy. Okay? So our metabolic states we've talked about several times. What are some of the metabolic organs that we've talked about over the past few weeks? Pardon? Adrenals. Adrenals are part of the metabolic system. What's the one right here at?
Thyroid.
Yes, thyroid. Okay? We talked about metabolic states, we're talking about thyroid. Okay? When we talk about anabolic steroids and anabolism, building of muscle, we're actually talking about the gonads. Okay? So this is the endocrine system which stimulates the cells of the body to be able to know how quickly or how rapidly or how efficiently to build or to destroy, to maintain and sustain, or to break down, to be able to create more energy or to ask the body to create more energy, or to feel hungry or thirsty or whatever the processes may be, to be able then to create this metabolic state that then is the efficient burning or a life cycle. Okay? It's an energy cycle. So this ATP production occurs within the cells of the body. So what if we actually now take a cell, okay? within the cell, like Nacho Libre says, within the mind you find the nucleus, right? Within the cell you find the nucleus, okay? Within that nucleus you're going to find, in the human cells, DNA, double-stranded, double helix genes that contain all of the life codes, all of the life processes, okay? What's so amazing though is within this cell is this little organelle that has no DNA, it only has RNA. And the RNA then in this little cell, or excuse me, organelle of the cell, is basically a little powerhouse, okay? What is that little powerhouse called?
The mitochondria.
Mitochondria, okay? So this little powerhouse, the mitochondria, is really fascinating because when I was at the university, we started studying genetics, and RNA can actually be traced back through the mother. Okay, it doesn't come from dad. RNA comes from mom. And this RNA in the mitochondria can be traced all the way back in the line of the human family.